Hello and welcome to 1882. This is your Tottenham podcast. Hopefully we can lift the mood up a little bit after a little bit of a dismal midweek. I'm Ash, I'm your host, and with me as always is my big bro Chris. How you doing, bro?
How we doing, man? All good?
Yeah, good man, good. And we're also joined by someone quite a lot of people on Spurs Twitter I think would have heard from over the Twitter spaces. Glassy, how you doing, mate?
Evening, chaps. Thanks for having me on.
No problem. We like to just give a quick run over when we get guests on about our Spurs fandom, I guess, if you'd like. So how long you been a Spurs fan from, and sort of where's that come from?
So my story is I've been a Spurs fan since 1990, 1991. Obviously, the famous FA Cup win. I started supporting Spurs because of Gaza. My dad was a Liverpool fan, comes from a Scottish family. Obviously, the CNS links and stuff. But basically, we were living down south. I saw Gascoigne on TV. I saw him score in the semi-final against, well, obviously that famous long-range shot. And that was it for me. I said, Dad, I want to support Tottenham now. And he was like, right, fair enough. Well, at least we can go to some games then. So, yeah.
He must have thought you were mad, though.
If you're going to fall in love with a player, what a player in Gaza, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean,
a player to fall in love with.
Yeah, I mean, when he left, I cried, like genuinely cried. So I was 11 at the time, and I was very, very lucky because my dad sort of grew a little bit of a soft spot for Tottenham off the back of Gaza and that. We were a cup side then, so we were decent, and he actually took me out to see Lazio versus Milan when I think I must have been 12. The season I think it was the season after he got there. So yeah, Gaza, mate. That's why. And for just over 20 years now.
As good a reason as any. Speaking of the FA Cup in less positive terms, I guess, I suppose we've got to get Sheffield United out of the way, haven't we? Where do we even start?
Just before we get into the game, right? And I know I don't want to start on the whole game's depressing, but I just want to. I went to that game, and the thing that disappointed me the most was Kane was the only one that come and clapped the fans.
Was he? I
Son did it from like halfway off the pitch, but Kane actually walked past the stewards, come and clapped us, and I was very disappointed. The thing I expect from a team when they've been off is appreciation from the fans and at least trying, and that really disappointed me in that game. But like I say, that was just my perspective from inside the stadium.
Yeah, I'm that annoying prick who likes to play devil's advocate. And maybe it was just dejection. You know what it's like if you do a shit job in whatever you do and you just want to fuck off home, didn't you?
But Ashley, man, I mean, these people have travelled up to bloody Sheffield
I agree,
on a Wednesday night, you know, like the least they can do is come over and, come over to the fans and wave them and thank them for being there, because some of them probably didn't get home until the early hours of the morning, or even had to stay over at night and go back the next day. So, I'd turned it off with about 2 minutes left of normal time, because I'd seen enough.
But we've seen that game a million times.
yeah. I'm with Christian. It's the least that we can expect from the players, you know.
Yeah, no, I do totally agree. I do. We should probably start with the lineup. There was quite a few changes in there. Almost a new front. Well, it was a new front three from the game that started a week before, and we saw Sanchez come in at the back and Porro. Glassy, what was your thoughts when you saw the lineup come out?
Yeah, so I was saying last night when it came out, I was just sort of fanboying over seeing Porro's name, because I'm just desperate to see him settle in and play well. I think he's perfect for the system that we play when the system's working. So when I first initially saw it, I thought, okay, it's, I'm looking forward to seeing Porro. I was worried about Sanchez straight away, and I was looking forward to seeing Sarr. I think he deserved to start a game. I was hugely disappointed in the fact that Danjuma didn't get a start. I thought it was the perfect opportunity to bring him in, although I do understand the propensity to try and get Son to play into form, give him a bit of confidence. But Danjuma really deserved to start, and I was really disappointed in that. But it's easy to talk after the game, but I mean, if you look down and look at that team, technically, although there wasn't 8 players in from Chelsea game, there was actually technically 8 changes with people swapping into different positions from the Chelsea game, which was a massive risk considering it's the biggest game of the season so far.
So Glassy, would you say you still expected a win with that team?
Oh, absolutely, no doubt. So, this is a 50-50. There's a 50-50 on the coaches and the players, right? I mean, you put those players out. There was plenty, more than enough for them to go out there and get a win. But the biggest hole in that team was the lack of creativity, and the only 2 players in the team that are creative are really Kulusevski and Kane. Both of them were out, and another big mistake was sticking Porro on the right hand side with Sanchez. He hasn't played with Romero yet, so if you're gonna bed him in, at least give him an opportunity to have someone like Romero behind him. So I wasn't that disappointed at the time because I thought it'd be enough. But yeah, how wrong was I?
Yeah, the Porro decision, like you said, we're all excited, and that's a universal feeling that we really want to see him bed in and settle in. But his strengths and his weaknesses they're not a secret. Like we all know the kind of player Porro is. And on the ball, we saw that he played. I can't remember who it was to, but there was a phenomenal cross ball pass. I think it was into Son. He couldn't quite get it into his stride. Then his first touch took it behind him, and there was also that run in the box where I think Kane played it to him. And he couldn't quite get it out of his feet himself. We know his strengths going forward, and to get the best out of him, we need a strong, dependable defender behind him, someone who's going to snap into tackles and can actually get the ball to him when he's making good runs. And we don't have that in Sanchez.
I don't know about you guys watching it on TV, but like I say, I was on that side, so I was basically on the corner flag, right? And I saw a lot of Porro in that second half, and I thought he was one of our better players. Honestly, like there was moments in the defence where our normal players would head it back into midfield, or they just boot it, and he'd take it down.
Yeah, no, he did some really good things in defence, but ultimately he takes his share of fault for the goal. It was lazy defending. He got turned far too easily in the box. Now, I don't know how it looked in the staging, but when you see the replays,
well, it was a bit hard because I was on the opposite side of the stadium.
Yeah. So I mean, I'll see if you how.
But even then, like even attack, like he popped off some good shots. There was crosses into the box where if Harry Kane was there, he would have got on the end of some of them because they were in very good areas. Nice cutting inside, taking shots, like I say. The quality and the glimpses, you could see the talent of the boy. And I've got no doubt he'll come good very quickly. I think the goal, for me, the goal relies a lot on Højbjerg. I put a majority of the blame on Højbjerg. I think he turned his back. He let it deflect off him. Then there's still, even with that, there's still the opportunity, like you say. He got turned a little bit easy, Porro, yes, but then Sanchez was there. He just stands there. Dyer comes across, and I don't know what Dyer's thinking.
I don't put any blame on Dyer there.
There was just numerous issues for that.
It was fear, wasn't it? It was pure fear from everybody in the box. They didn't want to be the one to give away a penalty. That's what it felt like.
And do you think Lloris gets beaten at his front post that easy?
No, I mean he's very good at getting down quick with his legs, but I thought and this is a little bit harsh going back a little bit. I thought against Leicester, I know a lot of them were quite far in the corner, but I still think one or two of them Lloris gets to. But the thing is with Lloris, he is capable of a brain fart and causing other issues that Forster hasn't been doing. I think
the main thing that we've got to say is that there's no way we can blame Forster because of the amount of issues that come before it. But obviously there is that little bit of criticism, but I do like Forster commanding his box. He's massive, by the way. He's huge.
6'7" or something ridiculous.
The way he can punch from it, he looks very good from corners and stuff. Obviously his mobility, may slow us down, but ultimately, like I say, it's not his fault for the goal. I think Højbjerg takes a lot of responsibility. I'd say Sanchez and Dyer then probably take the most. But listen, again, we beat ourselves. We beat ourselves again. Like, I was watching the first half, and yeah, we didn't score, but you'd think, do you know what? We actually felt like it was coming. It felt like it was coming, and I've had people give Lucas Moura a stick, but he was the best player on the pitch for me. He was, although he might have lost the ball a lot of times, he was the only one driving with the ball.
Yeah,
there was a few times he beat the last man.
Yeah, but he did what he always does, which is run with his head down, and he does so good until the moment where he has to pass or shoot, and that's been the criticism. Yeah, I know. But
Son and Richie offered absolutely nothing.
But that's been Mora's criticism since the day he walked in the door.
He gets lost down channels, doesn't he, Ashley? He gets lost down channels, and then he gets into these good positions, and it's like he gets lightheaded.
He turns into Didier Sakura.
Yeah, it's bizarre, but I understand. Like, he was positive, he was trying things, and I thought that about Porro. You know, he was proactive. He tried to take people on. He lost the ball a couple of times, but you know, he did a couple of nice little 1-2s and things like that. But again, Porro comes in. You know, give him a game when you've got Kulusevski in front of him and Romero behind him. Don't stick bloody Lucas Moura ahead of him and Davinson Sanchez. I mean, what are you trying to do to the guy?
I do think to get the best out of Porro, we do need to make some tactical switch where this boy is so good. The quality on the ball, seriously, like even the 1-2 crosses we saw, they were always in very good areas. And to capitalise on that, Kane needs to be like a more number 9. Son needs to get on the back post. Perisic needs to come in. 2 midfielders one of them needs to drop in so there's a pullback. Like, we need options. That we can leave that boy with the ball and expect very good delivery. And again, the 1 or 2 times we did get.
Oh, we lost him there.
Behind the player. That literally, everyone. Perisic was poor. However, he was showing in the box. And even in the last few minutes, who got to the end of headers? And it was Perisic. And this is a 34-year-old man that everyone wants to get at, but ultimately, no one's in that box. No one was there showing. No one was trying to play like a fox in the box. And I felt sorry for the boys out wide. I really did.
Yeah, so obviously we know that the guys on the pitch didn't really do the job, and there was you can put it down to lack of talent, lack of effort, of whatever. But I want to zero into the tactics a bit at the moment there for a moment, because Chris, you said it there that we need to change a few things to get the best out of Porro. The thing I was most disappointed at was against Chelsea, we used our press really effectively. It wasn't necessarily obvious what the triggers were in the press, but there were moments where we would press higher as a team rather than just try and win the ball back in our own half and try and move the ball forward that way. Whereas I didn't really see that often enough against a Championship Sheffield United. I don't know if there's anything else or anything different that you saw, Glassy.
I don't think that's a tactical thing from the coaching staff, because Sarr was pressing like a madman. And unfortunately, Højbjerg had another one of his games where he was shocking. Højbjerg was not helping Sarr. Sarr was making a tackle on the left. They were switching it out up right. And how did he get his yellow card? Because he had to come sprinting across and make a challenge. When that's Højbjerg's side, he did not help Sarr one bit. It looked like we're playing a one-man midfield. And I think that's where I'm most disappointed at. Is yes, Sanchez was playing. Yes, we had Lucas Moura and a few subs playing. But ultimately, the players that let us down are the ones that people tell me are our leaders. Højbjerg's meant to be a leader. You're in our starting 11. Dyer, yes, we know your weaknesses. However, you're in our starting 11. Show your leadership as the captain. It was the Son again. Richarlison, I never want to see him play centre forward again in my life.
No, I'm not having that.
No, the guy could not hold up the ball to save his absolute life. This guy wants to do these fancy little flicks. Sorry, mate, you haven't got Vinicius Jr. and getting behind you. You ain't got Paqueta and Neymar to play off when you're playing for Tottenham. Keep the ball, look after it, bring the players into play. This guy is not a centre forward for Tottenham. I'm sorry, he might do it for Brazil. Yes, he might work in that. but he has got no hold-up play, and he didn't help Son in that situation because Son was trying to get in behind, but Richarlison already lost it. Then you get Sanchez, who people tell me he's quick. He's losing in a foot race to a 38-year-old Billy Sharp. He outpaced by Billy Sharp. So to me, it comes down to the leaders on that pitch, and it comes down to individual poor performances. And yes, I give the responsibility to the coaching staff for putting those players out there and in those positions. However, once again, they've put players in where us as fans have been calling. We've been saying Richie's perfect position is centre forward. We've been saying Højbjerg's a starter. We've been saying all these things. Our Son's better on the left, playing further out wide. We've been calling, and just again, like when we were crying for the 3-5-2, and we played it against United and we got battered, and we were crying for Basuma in the 3. Again, the coaching staff have given us what we wanted. We've been proven wrong. Richie cannot play centre forward for Tottenham Hotspur.
I think, as much as I agree with you from that showing, I think the problem is that we did make 8 changes, and one of them was him in the middle. So I don't know what it would look like is if we played our strongest team, bar Kane, and put him up front. I don't know if it would look any different. But the only thing that I noticed, and this is why players like Kane are world class and players like Son and Richarlison aren't and never will be, in my personal opinion, is that when that game's going on, what Kane will do is he's got game IQ. You know, he's not stupid. So he'll notice where the gaps are, where the issues are, and he'll come deep to collect the ball to try and build up play. But neither Richarlison or Son could see what the issues were and are proactive enough or clever enough or good enough to notice what the problems are. Because Richarlison, what he could have done is said, right, I'm not really having much luck here. I need to at least get involved in the game and come a little bit deeper and collect the ball and pass it off and try and hold it up a bit. But you're right, he just doesn't possess that skill set.
With Richarlison and Son there, though, I think Son, is fair to say, has been a world class player. He's not shown it this year, but I don't think there's a strong argument to say that he hasn't been in the past. At least certainly last 2 or 3 seasons. But zeroing in on both on Rishi and Son actually. A lot of what I see in their game at the moment is a lack of confidence. When everything's not running for you the way it is, you're not going to come deep to collect the ball because you don't have the confidence in yourself to take a man on or to play a killer pass. When you're not getting the goals, you're desperate to. You're going to just try and be in and around the box. And it just wasn't falling for us because that doesn't work because we've only got a 2-man midfield and the ball's only wide. We need someone to come in and fill that hole in where a 10 would be, if you'd like.
But
we don't have
I'll
that.
ask you a question, Ash. Is if you're an out of form striker with no confidence, are you more likely to take less shots?
Well, it depends on the situation because
Richie's just trying to hit them from.
But that's what I was going to say. When you're low in
confidence,
that's what happens as well, though. Low confidence affects people slightly differently. You see strikers they just want to just hit it because they don't trust themselves to beat a man and get into a better position. They don't trust themselves to play a good pass into someone else in another position, or they're too desperate to get their head up and have a proper look, so they'll just snap at a shot. We see it time and time again with players out of form, and sometimes they can play themselves back in, or sometimes you need something really different to get themselves in, or sometimes it just won't work. But that can happen, and I think you mentioned with Richie not coming in and holding the ball and wanting to do flicks, but surely there has to be a conversation about when you don't have Harry Kane in the team, you need to adapt the team. You can't expect the team to work in the exact same way. What other striker in the world that we can really realistically have to come in and be Harry Kane's replacement when he needs a rest?
But no one's asking any other player to be Tom Brady like Kane, right? No one's doing that. However, you look at strikers that have helped us, right? And yes, the player I'm about to mention, we got him too late. He probably weren't the best. Was Fernando Llorente. What did he actually do, though? He actually held up the ball and brought in players like Dele Alli, brought in players like Son. He kept the fundamentals the same.
He was playing with
very simple. Richie, if it was a lack of confidence, play simple. Like, he's not playing simple. He was doing all these fancy flicks. You're not going to do that when you're out of confidence.
I don't think it helped him that he was
simple.
playing. Yeah, I'm not trying to absolve him of any blame, but I do think you have to take into consideration the fact that he's coming in a little bit out of form and he's playing with an out of form Son and a Lucas Moura who's been out since God knows how long. I forgot he was even a part of the fucking team, to be honest. I think you've got to give some context to the performance. Because you're right though, it weren't great, and we do need something more. And
listen,
whether you're out of form or low on confidence, you're playing Sheffield fucking United.
I'm not saying Richie is a terrible player. Just for me, him as a centre forward for the club will never work.
I don't think he'll be long term. I think we'll look for another striker.
He needs to play off the left. He needs to. For me, that's his best position. He's never been an out and out goal scorer. He's someone that in certain games can be extremely dangerous. I know Chelsea hate playing against him. I think he's got good running in him. He helps defensively, like we saw against Chelsea again. I just think when you're playing as a lone centre forward, you need to be able to hold up the ball, bring players into play. And when you're playing with a two-man midfield where you haven't got number 10 very close to you, you definitely need to be able to do that. Give the team time to push forward. Let Porro get up, exploit the wing, just hold up that ball. Let Son get in behind so you can play a quick little ball into Sarr or Højbjerg and they can put it through and then you can spin out. For me, he's just not that kind of striker that we need at all. And we're never going to play a Brazilian style of football. We never have, even under Poch. We never did it. We always had Kane holding up the ball. We always had Fernando Llorente. We always had Vinicius. Very good players that hold up play and link up play. And Richie doesn't possess those abilities. But like you said, I'm not going to sit here and just slag off Richie. Just for me, he's got to be a left forward. Like Glassy said, disappointed Danjuma didn't come on earlier. But I heard that he's got a little niggle. I don't know how true it is.
Again, he looked good when he came on, didn't he, Glassy Danjuma? For me, anyway. I don't know if you agree.
Oh, mate, like every time I've seen that guy, he's exactly the sort of player that we need, because that's what I like about Porro. When Porro's firing and confident, his team's working like it should, or a bit like we want it to work. He's the sort of player that will take players on. He's got pace, he's got skill. He goes for the throat, and that's what Danjuma does. It's what we need. That's the problem with Son at the moment. Son is he's not occupying the spaces where he's had the most success. He's I don't know if he has forgotten what he's good at, or he's been instructed to do something that he's not comfortable doing, or what. But he can't beat a man at the moment. Like and Danjuma will go for the throat. He'll beat a man, and the thing is, it's not just this individual player that affects the team hit that position positively. When you've got players that take players on, it brings up the defensive line and the midfield line. So you're not sitting back so deep. It's just these little tactical tweaks, and that's one of the things that I noticed with Emerson. We tend to sit back a little bit. The defensive line drops a little bit, and it puts us on the back foot. We get less possession. But Danjuma is just one of those players that we need. We need someone like that. We need that pace. We need that directness and that aggressiveness. And he's good on his left foot. He's good on his right foot. He's not afraid to take a shot. He's a good player. And that sort of positive impact, you have that happens to the rest of the players. It impacts the rest of the players. It livens them up, livens the crowd up when someone gets the ball and goes straight at defenders. And that's what we need at the moment. And I find it a little bit strange that he's not. I mean, if he had a knock, then that's fair enough. But I just find it strange that we didn't bring him on until we went and goal down, and he came on the 81st minute. I was like, this is just. I mean, what are we doing?
I think the other thing, Glassy, is that Danjuma's not had to go through the season that these other players have been. He's not had to deal with Tottenham Hotspur having injuries all the time, going through
just being Tottenham Hotspurs.
This guy's coming in to do a job, and you can see. I know Preston's not a great team, but the areas that he was picking up, and he was so confident on the ball, he was spinning on it, good finish for the goal, and you could tell that he is more adapted to being able to play on the left or more centrally, like he played at Villarreal at times when the
He's dragging defenders all over the place as well, Christian. Like all the defenders were getting, their positioning was all over the place when he come on, because a player that goes at you like that, that's got pace, that's direct and aggressive, they're scared of him, so they lose their composure and their positioning goes out, and that opens up space for other players. But and it's the same with Porro. Porro will do the same thing. That's what we've been screaming out for. But he's not started a game. And what's he played? Maybe half an hour's worth since he joined.
Do you know what I would honestly do after that Sheffield United game?
Sack them up.
No, I would honestly try Kulu on the left. Right, ask him not to cut in, just to whip in corners. Play Emerson at right wing back, and play Porro as a right winger.
Started his career as a right winger, didn't he?
Yeah, it's not just that. It's just you got Kulu on one side where he doesn't always have to cut in. Players won't be able to read him. He's still got a right foot on him, and
doesn't
it's
matter.
just about at that point you've got the quality on both sides. Because at the moment when Kulu plays, he's the only one that can put very good crosses in. The other side,
but I get that, and firstly, it doesn't matter if players can read him. He's so fucking good. He'll make half a yard, and we can real cross from the right anyway. He's that good on the ball. Secondly, his most dangerous crosses are when he cuts in and swings in at that back post, where the ones where if a player touches it, then it wrong foots the keeper. If a player doesn't touch it, it might nestle in the bottom of the corner. Those are his dangerous crosses. So I don't know if I get what you're saying.
But he can do it on his right.
Well, I don't know. I haven't really seen that. I'm not saying he can't. I'm saying from personally, I haven't really seen that. So I'm not saying it wouldn't work, but it'd be a bit of a big risk.
I just think at the moment you've got to try something when you've got Son and Richarlison both out of form. It's not fair on the boys to keep trying to force them back into it. So maybe give Porro a bit of a chance of being more attackive. I don't know. I could be totally wrong.
But speaking of that right flank, a question that came to my mind when I saw the starting lineup is we've brought Danjuma in. I know it's an initial loan, but there's talks of it being with a view to a permanent or an option to a permanent. Why do we have? Again, you've mentioned the possible niggle, but I haven't read that anywhere, so I don't know. I don't know how true that is either. But we've got Danjuma, who might be quote unquote the future of the club. I'm not saying Harry Kane. I mean a part of the squad going forwards.
Yeah.
And then we've got Lucas Moura, who is 100% leaving at the end of the season. Why are we bothering giving Lucas Moura the minutes instead of bedding in Danjuma, especially in that if we're going to make those changes in that game? Why Moura over Danjuma from the start? That doesn't make sense to me at all.
Because again, they brought Danjuma in to be a left or centre forward. They're not going to play him. That's where he plays.
But we already had two of those. Why is he the player they brought in if we've got Sonny and Richarlison?
Because they needed a cover for Son, because again, like everyone else, they thought Richie could sub in for Kane. So even with Richie, we were still one.
Would you start Danjuma centre forward?
I'd start Danjuma. Yeah. He's more natural on both feet.
I think the other thing is, chaps, on the Danjuma thing, right? We've got an option to buy him for 25 million euros or whatever it is.
Yeah.
How are we going to know if we want to buy him if we don't give him game time and see if he's actually capable of playing in this system or for Conte or if he's good enough full stop? How are we going to know if we don't play him? Because every now and then when you bring in a player, you might put him in the team and you go, bloody hell, this is a game player. He might look all right in training, but you put him into a game situation, you're like, bloody hell, this guy's had a really, really positive impact. How are we going to know without playing him? It's
There's only so much you get from training. You can't see how they handle the pressure or the big moments in training. Everyone looks half decent in training, don't they? They're professional footballers at the end of the day. It's all about how you manage the match days. But so another year, another chance at a trophy of the FA Cup. It definitely has gone. But it wasn't all disappointment last week. We had a fantastic performance against a certain club from a different part of London in Chelsea. Glassy, how did you see that game pan out?
Yeah, I mean, obviously the first half was like a chess match, right? So it was a bit slow. We were sort of trying to work each other out. We were seeing if they were going to come at us. They wanted to see how we were playing. First half wasn't amazing, but it was solid. But second half, I think we must have just gone in and said, look, these guys are just not. They're not going to do anything. You know, they're not. We've got nothing to worry about here. And it looked like we made a couple of little tweaks the second half, and it was just easy. And that is unbelievable when you really think about it. It was, because when we played West Ham, I thought they're the worst team that we'd played this season. Honestly, I did. I thought West Ham were the worst team we played this season. Shocking. And then we played Chelsea, and I thought, these guys are worse. Honestly, I did. I genuinely felt like that.
Famously, two clubs who see us as their cup final. Well, certainly West Ham and Chelsea always turn up against us as well and spoil our day. That was the first goal. Was that our first goals that we scored against them at our new stadium as well?
Yeah. So we played them 5 times, hadn't we? And we'd lost all of them, and we hadn't scored against them or something like that.
We didn't just lose. We got humiliated every single time.
Yeah. So I was really happy, but and this is sort of, I was really happy with Chelsea. I thought we played really well, but this is the more frustrating thing, coming out of a big game, being confident, everyone, the morale being raised. There was an opportunity to make a few changes and just blow Sheffield United away, and then do a few tweaks on.
Do you know what stood out for me? What stood out for me is the real leader in our team is that beast called Christian Romero.
He's back, isn't he?
The difference, like before Chelsea, we was getting battered. He comes in against Chelsea, and he just seems to solidify everything. Everyone feels more confident. Højbjerg knows if a player gets past me, this guy's just going to break their legs. Like, the guys, he's just got an aura about him that just screams out best defender in the world. And
people are scared of him as well. It's brilliant.
But he's got this weird combination of being as aggressive as you're going to get, but also appears to be the calmest man on the pitch at all times. Like, nothing phases him. He's going to come in and break your legs whether you like it or not, and he just shrugs it off like it's nothing every time he goes into a tackle.
That little nutmeg was beautiful.
He's got film cameras as well, isn't he? He's the game changer ultimately. When you're playing with a 2-man midfield and wide centre backs, you need those wide centre backs to be decent on the ball and to join the midfield. And obviously we don't have another centre back to do that, so he's absolutely a game changer.
But Skip was brilliant. Skip was brilliant. Skip was brilliant.
Player.
Yeah, Skip was very good.
He's just come out of nowhere. He was great against Milan. And he really he sort of gave that confidence and freedom for Sarr to show what he can do, and Sarr obviously took that mantle on and performed really well. But against Chelsea, against West, what a cracking little player, little things that you wouldn't always notice. The way that he gets the ball, he gets the ball and then completely changes direction. And it's just these little things that he does.
There's that clip from the under-21 games against the Netherlands where Frankie de Jong was playing in, and there was a translation underneath where they're saying, "Oh my God, you can't get near him. He's like Frankie."
It's like de Jong. Yeah.
Unreal player. But I think the thing is with Skip, like he's always been really highly appreciated at the club. Like Pochettino had him in his squad at 19 years old. Jose said he's going to be a future Tottenham captain. He played almost every minute under Nuno. But as fans, we were so quick to write him off after his first game back from the weirdest injury that anyone's ever seen to have, where he just couldn't recover from it.
But for me, I wrote him off though, Ash, and he's going to be, for me, a tactical player. I think he does exactly what the manager asked for him in games where we might be chasing the ball.
Yeah.
So games against Chelsea, games against United, PSG in the Champions League, or whoever we might play, teams like that who are going to have possession. This guy can run for days. He's probably our most more defensive midfielder we have. His IQ is very good. My concern's going to be in a game against Wolves or a game against Brighton where we need to dominate the game. Is he going to be able to offer enough? And that's That's my question. And I think he's going to become more of that tactical player that managers can use in the right times. Yeah. Will he always solidify him as a starting 11? I'm not too sure.
That's fair to say, and I don't think it's his fault that's the situation we're in. The problem is that we have 4 centre mids that are similar in their skill set, not at the same rate, like as in terms of the jobs they do. So Skip is the best at doing the defensive job by getting the foot in, but ultimately he's a tackler and a recycler. Saar, very similar, just slightly different attributes are better here or there. Højbjerg, that's kind of what he was sold to us as. I'm not sure what he really is. A bit of a headless chicken at times. And then Bentancur, he is that, but he's also class at dribbling as well. What we really lack is a ball player in the midfield. Like you said, that our creative players are only Kane and Kulusevski. And one way to supplement that would be have an option in the centre of midfield who is a ball player. At Skip, I think Skip's ability to pass and spot a run is a bit underappreciated, or at least has been underappreciated. But I get what you're saying. He is that's his skill set, and I think it's on the club to build a midfield that complements each other.
I think the thing is to Skip as well. Like he'll pick up the ball and he'll drive forward with it, and what I did, like little things that I spot when he picks up the ball and drives, everybody else starts moving with him. That's like a huge compliment when a young player picks up the ball and starts driving, that everybody else is running because they're confident. So that shows an inherent confidence in his ability. So he must impress in training because he picks up the ball, he drives. The defending team or the opposition seem to panic a little bit and all trying to run into position. Our players are starting running and making. So there's little nuances that I spot in his game. And one of the other things that I've noticed when he's played, every time he's played, other than with Saar, every time he's played, he's looked like the best midfielder. And he's played with Højbjerg a number of times, and he's outshone him each time. So I'm not going to get overexcited and say that he's going to be the next best thing, but there's pleasing signs.
He's going to offer a lot, isn't it?
What was really satisfying was we were playing against a £600 million Chelsea team, and it was 2 local boys that got us the win.
I didn't even know Fernandes was playing. I genuinely was watching that game, going, I looked at half time thinking, right, who have we got on the bench? And this is not a joke. Who have we got on the bench? Like, what options have we got? Because it was obviously 0-0. And I looked at their bench and I was like, where's Fernandes? Oh shit, he's been playing.
What's that classic meme when Skip?
Well, I just want to add one extra thing about Skip, right? Is that out of all the bunch of midfielders that we've had come through, he's the best one. So every single year we seem to get a better midfielder. So
the next one,
the next one's going to be class. Like we had fucking Tom Carroll, we had Nabil Bentaleb, we had Jamie fucking O'Hara, that mug, can't play football to save his life, right? Then we had fucking Ryan Mason, who offered us a bit more. Tom Carroll. They slowly got a bit of them. We got Winksy. Everyone thought, he's getting better. Obviously, I didn't rate him massively. Never have. But Skip's definitely the best out of that bunch. And he's actually one that I can see that will offer something to Tottenham going forward. Yeah. And hopefully that means Divine's going to be fucking out of this world, because if we carry on that trajectory, one of them is going to be fucking good, because they just keep getting better. I think that's a positive we can look at. I know we've been through absolute shit to get to it, but what I will say about Winksy is you can see when he plays, it's 110%, and he plays for the shirt, and it is refreshing to see when things are going badly. And I will never slander the boy to the point where with Winksy I was saying he can't even play Prem football. I would never do that with Skip, because you can see his qualities, you can see what he's offer. I just can't see him improve a hell of a lot more. I think he's more or less a few tweaks here and there. I think he's at his level, which is a very good level. But like you said, Ash, we need to build the right midfield. He needs to be our tactical changes that we make against certain teams. I think he's probably the first midfielder on the team sheet against Milan. Honestly, I'd drop Højbjerg.
100%.
I'd go with Skip and Sarr again. I really would. I just don't think Højbjerg offers us enough at this moment in time. But yeah, listen, that Chelsea game, I think the whole team worked as a unit. I was really proud of the boys. As much as I slaughtered Richie for the Sheffield game, he helped defensively massive. A lot of running. Emerson sublime again. Harry Kane.
We haven't had a chance to be Emerson Cafu's appreciation society. We haven't recorded in a while, have we? So
I think again, like I know I said about Christian Romero, but it comes down to we didn't do any sloppy mistakes. No individual errors. Individual errors have killed us game in, game out. Even against Leicester, I wouldn't say a game where we've been totally outclassed. We just fuck ourselves in the arse every single game. Yeah. Always one player slips. Like going back to Sheffield, I don't know how one of the coaching staff hasn't told Sarr and Sanchez to swap their boots. They were on their arse constantly, falling over and slipping. And that Chelsea game, listen, it all just came together. And it shows that it gives me that bit of confidence that actually there's something in this team that they can still push for that top four. They can still do it, because if they can do it, it means that they've got it within their attributes. They've got it in their mental state. Unfortunately, what the manager and the coaching staff have got to find is how do we get it out there more regularly.
Well, that's it.
And that's been the hardest point.
Our biggest problem is that we're consistently inconsistent. It's absolutely infuriating. But let's move on to that Milan game. Glassy, what squad? I'm asking you to name the whole 11. But what sort of squad do you want to see in that return leg?
So for me, easy, 4-star. Longley, Dyer, Romero, Davies out on the left, Emerson, Royal back in, Skip. I would go with, and it's not. I agree with you, Christian. I would like to see Skip and Sarr, but let's be perfectly honest, it's going to be Skip and Højbjerg. We just know it is. Yeah. And then I'd play Richarlison on the left, Kane and Kulu. That's what I would do. I'd just go out there. That's pretty much the team. Or it is pretty much the team that's got us the 2-0 wins against West Ham and Chelsea. We know what we're getting with them. Let's get back on track against Wolves. Get a bit of confidence.
I forgot about Wolves.
Yeah.
That's how uninterested I am.
It's not going to be an easy game. It's not going to be an easy game, unfortunately. No, under Leopard, I'm going to completely, let's just call him Leppy because I'm going to murder his bloody name. Lepatugi? Yeah, that's what I said. So I think it's not going to be an easy game, but I still think if we play a strong side, we've got plenty in the bank to get a win, and I think Milan will just play the strongest team, the team that we trust. And I think we've got enough to beat Milan. We have,
Totally.
We should do it. I think we should. And I can't disagree with that team. As much as I'd like to see Porro come into games where we need to win and we need to score, Leao would fucking 7-way sideways. So I don't want to see that.
It's just even with Emerson's limitations, can you take him out of the squad at this moment in time?
The thing they've done with him is really clever. That they've realised, right, you're not a wing back. We know you're not a wing back, even though we've tried our hardest for you to be a wing back. You're not a wing back. So what can we do with you? Like what can we look at your skill set, your abilities, and try and get the best out of you? And it happened at Fulham. There was this real cute little change they've done with him, where instead of going out wide and sort of supporting Kulusevski all the time, he's coming inside and playing almost like a third midfielder. Like it's like a third defensive midfielder, and it worked against Fulham. It was a big part to a big part in why we beat them, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And they've done that, and I don't know. And I love that. Like, I love those little tweaks where you think, bloody hell, okay, all right. So you're giving him the best chances possible for him to succeed by stopping him from doing what he's not good at and what he's getting criticised for, and looking at what he can do, and then building that into the team. And not only does it help him, but it helps the team, and everybody seems to love him, which has another positive impact. So it's those little tweaks, tactical, and he's become important because our defence is shocking. So it needs more protection. So he's a good defender. He helps with the midfield. So he helps, and he's good at winning the ball back and doing the sort of easy pass other than the bloody no look pass. So that little change, we need him in. And Porro isn't going to work until we've got a better defence and we're more confident at defence. So I'm really chuffed for him, because I'd completely written him off. I actually wanted to stop watching games because of him, and that sounds childish, but it was killing me every time I saw his name on the sheet.
It was. No one can blame you.
But he's, they've adapted his game, and it's helping him, it's helping the team, and he's an important part of the team at the moment until we can sort the defence out. Yeah,
back in the Brazil squad that came out today as well. So fair play to the lad. There was all that stuff, all those reports about him spending £1 million of his own money on training to get better, and it is nice to see a player at Tottenham come good. I think we get too drawn in at the moment to either loving or hating a player, but it's nice to see someone come good. We should probably
what? Even if he didn't come good, this guy has had to listen to the terraces destroy him, even his song. Like, he's gonna hear it, right? And this young boy has put in the work.
He's younger than Porro.
And that's what I'm saying. He's put in the work, and he has carried on. Even if he carried on not being the player, ultimate respect to the guy for absolutely trying his heart off.
Look at the contrast, Christian.
He never wanted to quit Tottenham. At any point did he throw his pram out and say, all right, I'm leaving, when he was benched. Do you know what I mean? This guy kept trying. So for me, ultimate respect.
But look at the contrast in Emerson Royale and Ndombele. Ndombele, when he got booed as he was coming off, completely throws his toys out the pram and really he just gives up. And we know what happened there. Emerson Royale gets booed off by the fans, and you think to yourself, jeez, there's no real coming back from that. But he pulled his socks up. He went, I'll show you. Don't worry about me.
Goes out.
What happens from now on? Te amo, my Brazilian king, if you're listening out there, mate. But we should probably wrap this up quick with a few quick roundups and squad prediction or match result predictions. So Glassy, Wolves starting out first. What sort of game do you expect to see, and do you want to hazard a guess at a scoreline?
Yeah, so I think it's going to be another tricky first half. We seem to do this thing where we play very, very slowly and safely and try and work the team out, and then hopefully we'll get one on the break, and then we work it out, and then we make the tactical changes at half time. That seems to be what we're doing, because there's a lack of confidence in the team to go out and do what they can and take proactiveness and just go out there confidently do it from minute one. We don't seem to have that ability. So I think it will either be like 1-0 to us at half time or 0-0. And then my predictions 2-1 win for me. That's what I think.
Nice one, Chris.
I think it's just going to be a 1-0 victory. I think Harry Kane's going to score. As good as Wolves are, as solid they are, they don't score goals. The one player when we played against them who I thought was tricky to mark in Gonzalo Guedes, he's no longer there. And Martinez Nunes, Ruben Neves and João Moutinho, whoever plays, are just solid midfielders. Very, very good on the ball, but they don't offer goal threats. Neves will score a banger every now and then.
Sod's law will be against us, isn't it?
It could be, but they don't score goals. Like Hwang hasn't been scoring, Adama doesn't score anyway. Jimenez doesn't look the same. Cunha, a very good player, but just doesn't seem to have fitted in. My issue is they've got two centre-backs who I wanted at Tottenham in Kilman and Nathan Collins, who for me are
Collins being benched by Craig Dawson at the moment, isn't he?
Well, I'm not too sure. I've not looked at there, but maybe.
Yeah, the last few games he has, and Dawson always loves a header from a corner. But
yeah, but
you never know.
For me, Kane's enough. He'll get one. I think it will be a hard 1-0 victory.
Yeah. We've seen how Tottenham play this year. Our first half, like you said, try and work out your position. I think a part of it is try and wear them down as well, because we've worked so hard on our fitness over pre-season and over the season. In the second half, you'll see a more energised Tottenham. So I don't think at half-time, if it's 0-0, I don't think we should be too despondent as we seem to get on Twitter anyway. Just let the game pan out. Hopefully, we've got enough to put them to the sword. I just want to see a bit of effort and some fight and a performance that shows that they give a fuck about the loss in midweek. Like you said, some fans travelled all the way up to Sheffield, and nobody wants to be in Sheffield for any reason, let alone to see us lose. So I just want to see a bit of effort, but it's got 1-0 written all over it. They can't score, but they're not half bad defensively. We aren't amazing going forward. So yeah, 1-0. I don't really know who the scorer is, but there we are. Excuse me. AC Milan, Glassy. We've touched on them a little bit. Same questions.
I'm going to be honest with you. I think we're going to steamroll them. Honestly, I do. I don't know where. I just think we're going to thump them. Honestly, I do. I just think if the only reason why I don't think we will get a really strong result against them is if something dodgy happens against Wolves and there's a little bit, the mood goes down. But if we get a win against Wolves, I think we'll thump them. Honestly, I think it will be a really big result, and it's going to take us into the rest of the season positively. I'm desperate for there to be a real turn of events in favour of this team and Conte, and to build in that sort of that momentum that we had last season. I think if we can get a result against Wolves, I think we'll blow Milan away. Honestly, I do.
Chris, Glassy thinks we're winning the Champions League, mate. What about you?
Listen, mate, if anyone's going to fucking do a Spurs, it'll be fucking Tottenham. We will fucking finish 10th and fucking win Champions League.
Yeah.
But, no, I agree with Glassy. I think we're going to win. If there's anything, is Milan are starting to be better, but Tottenham play better against better teams. So maybe that's why we lost the first leg, is because they were playing shit. But ultimately, I think we've got the legs on them. I think we've got the power against them. I think Leao against Romero, not going to happen. Honestly, I think it's going to be a 2-0 victory. Conte's first game back, he's going to lose his shit. He just ain't going to accept losing to that team again. First time he ever loses to that team, and it's freaking Tottenham that does it to him. But I just think in that first game, we showed more than enough. We should have won that game. Apart from a couple of times where they caught us on the break, we did everything but score. And being at home, being a Champions League night, I think Harry Kane's going to be in a beast of a mood. Richie probably in a mood. Even Son, I think their defence in Torre and KR, yes, in a one-off game they could hold Kane and Son, but can they do it over two legs? I don't think so. So for me, 2-0 victory.
Yeah, it's got that feeling to it. If you looking at the first game, it really feels like we're gonna absolutely spank them. For me, it's all about the first 30 minutes. If we can go the first 25-30 minutes without howling errors, and we can build up confidence just by being solid for a bit and create the odd chance to see whether we score or not. That first 30 minutes can really set the tone for the game. If we can keep them quiet and really get them, then I think we can really turn the screw, especially in that second half. So I'm praying that it'll be a 2-0. I'm not a religious man, but I'm praying it'll be a 2-0 because we need some more cheer, don't we? So yeah. Any closing remarks, Chris, before we move on? Anything I've missed, like I did Wolves?
No, just about Chelsea get battered everywhere they go. Fuck them little fuckers. Listen, I'm so fucking happy about that lot. I told all the fans on Twitter, you don't want this Potter guy. You don't want him. And I've been fucking proven right. Listen, they need to pick themselves up quick. I want to see a bit of balls tomorrow. And then Milan, I really want to see them go at it on the front foot. Yeah. But like I say, listen, anything can happen with Tottenham. They play better against the better team, so it could work in our favour. But yeah, no, for me, listen, we've got to keep our heads up. Got to keep the heads up for the boys.
My other prediction, I think Kulusevski is going to explode in the next 4 or 5 games.
Hopefully, he's had enough.
Hopefully. I don't know. I'm just seeing little tiny improvements of confidence and match fitness. I just think Kulusevski is going to in the next 4 or 5 games, we're going to see the Kulusevski from last season, and that's going to have a hugely positive impact on the team. But I think Milan 3-0, 4-1. I think it's going to be a really good result.
Looking forward to it. Thanks very much for joining us today, Glassy. It's been a pleasure having you on. Do you want to tell the boys and girls how they can reach you on Twitter?
Yeah, so I on Twitter as Glassinho, which is Glassinho. So I'm on Twitter. I'm on the Spaces pretty much most nights with my mate Christian here, and we have a good laugh on there. We have a sing song. I've got Christian to sing once, actually, believe it or not, that lovely deep voice of his. So it's been a pleasure coming on here. I'm looking forward to more of these, and catch me on the Spaces.
Thanks very much, mate. Yeah, give him a follow and give us a follow as well. We're at 1882 pod. That's at 1882 pod. Chris, you can find him everywhere. He's always tweeting and talking and chatting nonsense.
Listen, I've proved you wrong on a lot of things, so I'm fucking true.
Yeah.
At Chris _underscore C91.
Thanks very much for tuning in. Hopefully we can be a bit more consistent moving forward. But as ever, come on you Spurs.
Come on you Spurs.